Hey, hey, this is Lacey, your Las Vegas gal, here once again with my sweet friend Amber Coleman from Guild Mortgage. Hey. So we are back again. We like to do these live videos as often as we can because we really feel like the information is needed. People need to know the answers to what we're bringing forth, right? And this week specifically, if you didn't catch it the other day, we did a video about the coronavirus and how that is or is not affecting the industry here in Vegas. So really, we're trying to just be on and be present as much as we can this week because we want to make sure that while there's fear out there, that we're here to help calm your fears and answer questions. So we came on really just to do kind of a live Q&A, and we've got some things we're going to talk about, but please, if you join us live, please put your questions in the comments. We will be answering those as we go. And we'll kind of get it started. How's that sound?
Let's do it.
Yeah. She's getting good in front of the camera, isn't she?
I'm trying.
You're doing really well. We've come a long way.
The first time I was like,
And she's like, I don't know if I'm gonna do that again. And now we're like, come on, we're old hat. We hit live. We don't even know what's going on. So we're getting used to this. And thanks for your patience while we figure it out.
Yes, thank you.
So just to start, I guess I know we've got a few people putting in. Hey everybody, we've got a few people putting their questions in there. We'll answer those in a minute.
Okay.
But let's talk a little bit about some of the stuff that's come up this last week from questions of my clients and questions from your clients.
Okay. So some of the questions that I've had is, like, one question that I had is the debt to income ratio. Like, how does the debt to income ratio work?
Yes. Does it DTI is the term that they use if you're talking, oh, look at that hair. Oh my goodness. It's like staticky. Because you gave me a kiss earlier and then I'm like all over it.
You still have my lipstick right there.
We were making out for a moment.
We were trying to
make my husband jealous. Sorry, I got off track. DTI is the verbiage that's going to be used when you talk to a loan officer. What's your DTI or your debt to income ratio? So that's come up a lot this week. People want to know.
It's by multiple different people. Mm-hmm. So how the debt to income ratio works is we're going to take your income. And when we're talking about income, it's going to be your gross income. So before taxes.
Yes.
Yeah. And well, we'll just say that. So your gross income before taxes, and then we're going to look at your liabilities. So like your car payments, your student loans, your credit card payments. And when we say credit card payments, it's just the minimum payment on the credit card.
That's good.
So if you have like $1,000 you have $1,000 owing on it and your payment's $25, all we're going to count is $25.
Oh, that's great. I didn't even realize that. That's good.
So it's not that bad when it's the credit card. So we're going to add all of those liabilities up together.
You know what's funny? I thought, sorry to interrupt you, but I thought that when you looked at credit cards, and see, this is why I don't do loans. This is why they don't let me in here, because I don't do this. But I thought you actually looked at what you owed on the card. So that's really good, because a lot of people think I have too much debt to buy a house. But really, if the minimum payment's low,
that's why I'm always saying, no, just let me pull it. Honestly, if the debt's high on the credit cards, then that's a good way that I'll say, okay, pay this down so we can get your credit score higher.
Very cool.
But as far as getting a loan, the minimums, all we're going to count. Most of those minimums are super low.
Awesome. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but debt to income is definitely a question that keeps coming up over and over this week. Yeah.
It's been a lot. So we're going to take all those liabilities that you have, your student loans, your car loans, your credit cards.
Minimum payment.
Minimum payment on the credit cards. And then we're going to add it to the new house payment that we're looking at. So all of those together, add them together and divide it by the income.
Oh.
So we have to stay within a certain debt ratio per program. It's anywhere between like 45 to 55%, depending on the type of program that you're doing.
45 or 45 to 55% of the debt that you have versus what you have coming in.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that's actually a really easy way to think about it.
Debt you have plus the new house payment. Because sometimes people will forget. They'll be like, I don't have any debt. And I'm like, well, you're buying a house, so you're going to have a house payment. So we're going to count your future house payment.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I think that's helpful. I think that's really helpful. P.S. I think we need to start doing these later in the day. Look at all these amazing people coming on live. Give us a thumbs up in the comments if you want us to start doing these like after hours, because I think everybody just got home from work and they're starting to tune in. This is awesome. So that's how debt to income ratio works, and that's a really important part of getting you qualified. If your debt is too high or your debt to income ratio is too high, you can't process it, right?
Yeah. So there's usually 3 things that we're going to look at to get you qualified. So it's the debt to income ratio, it's the credit score, which we've talked about that before, and it's the assets.
Can we talk about the credit score before we move on? A lot of people haven't seen the videos that we've done where we talk about how you see a different credit score than what Experian, TransUnion, and whatever the other one's called see. What's the other one called?
Equifax.
Yeah, I don't even know. So, when people go Credit Karma or they pull their credit or they have like on my credit card, I can look at where my credit stands as of right now. That's a different number than what is going to be used to qualify you for a home. So just, you need to know that, like, don't assume you know your credit.
I do get asked that question. That's been a lot this week too. So thanks for bringing it up. So everybody uses different modules for credit. So when you're looking at Credit Karma is not a creditor. They're a place that makes money because you pull credit with them.
Yeah.
So what they're doing is they're taking your raw information from all the bureaus and they're coming up with their own way of calculating credit score.
Got it.
Which is different than how a creditor would. And when you're buying a house, we're the creditor, So we would be looking at a different module of how to calculate your credit score. Does that make sense?
It does. So, I mean, it's really just how the math is done on the back end. And so you have an automatic system that you pull and you can look at right away and you know where people stand, which I think is awesome because I hate the idea of pulling it and then waiting for,
I wish everybody, I wish all the credit card companies, anything you pull credit was all the same, but it's not. It's all different and it's different modules of how they calculate what your scores are.
So Credit Karma is a great thing and don't write it off. However, it's important for you to know that don't assume, because I've had people call me and say, I can't buy a house. My credit's in the 500s. There's no way I'm going to be able to do it. I make them call her anyway. And lo and behold, they're 672 ready to go. They had no idea, or sometimes it's happened in the reverse too.
It happens both ways. There's no rhyme or reason.
Yeah.
I always say Credit Karma's really good, or the credit monitoring services, because then you know what's on your credit. Right. So if there's somebody that's trying to get into your credit, you can see the inquiries, or you can see the new credit cards, or you can see the credit card balances. Just don't look at the scores. Yeah. Because the scores are always different.
Yeah, that's really good to know. Okay, so let's talk about, so you said how you qualify people's debt to income, credit score, her version, and then the last piece of it was assets. So if you own another home, if you have a business, tell me more about that.
So the assets is more about the money in your bank account.
Okay.
So
it's not if you own another home, obviously that blends in with it, right? Or no?
Well, that's kind of counted in a separate section. It's called the REO section.
Okay.
So if you own another house, we're going to look at that too, and that's going to be kind of included in the debt to income ratio, because if you rent that house out, we're going to want to know how much you get in rent compared to how much your house payment is.
So some people they hear the word assets and they think, I have a boat, I have four-wheelers, I have this. None of that matters.
So more like liquid assets.
Liquid assets.
Because what we're looking for is if you're going to buy a house, so if you're doing a loan that requires a down payment, we're going to want to be able to see where you're getting that down payment from.
Makes sense.
So a lot of times people will take out of a 401k, so then we'll ask for a 401k statement.
Okay.
Or, you'll have two bank accounts, say you have Wells Fargo or Bank of America, so we'll ask for two bank statements for those so that we can see how much you have, and that way we can show the underwriter where you're getting your down payment money from.
I love it.
Or sometimes certain programs will require reserves. So what reserves means is extra money in the bank account after you close.
Okay.
So
perfect.
That's why we ask for the assets.
So really, it's really a three-part system. Obviously, this can shoot off into 100,000 directions depending on your situation. But the basics are debt to income ratio, which we now know how to calculate. Don't worry about calculating it.
I can do it for you.
She can do it for you. Your credit score. Don't worry about pulling it. She can do that for you. And then your assets, and she can explain which ones we need to look at. So that's kind of the process of getting approved, or just really what goes into getting approved initially in the raw format, right?
Yes.
Cool. What else did we have? We had some people asking us questions this week about moving to Vegas. If I want to buy a house there before I get there, can I do that? If I don't have a job, do I have a job? It's the job stuff keeps coming up. And I know that there's a lot of ways to look at it, but people who are moving here, I've had people call and say, well, I can't buy a house for 2 years. And I said, what happened? Why can't you? And they said, well, I just got this new job when I got to Vegas, so I have to wait 2 years. And I'm like,
that does happen all the time.
Oh my God, no, you don't. You can wait 2 weeks. We can buy a house. You're good. So
really
will you walk through that a little bit?
Yeah. So if you've been in your industry for 2 years, then you could have changed jobs 5 times within those 2 years. Yeah. And as long as you've been in the same industry, that counts. And sometimes people will say, well, I was in a different industry before, but they went to school to be something else. Any time spent in school is counted as time in your industry.
That's good.
Yeah. So if you, for example, I had a nurse that just graduated nursing school, never worked at all, but we were able to close her on a loan. She just had to wait for one pay stub to come. because we used her past history that she went to school with.
That's great.
And then her, her new job offer.
So if you're thinking of moving here and you are, hating your industry, hating life, but you really do want to buy because the market's hot and great and all those things, figure out a way to get a job in your industry, get your butt here. All we need is one paycheck stub, or even an offer letter can work, to be honest.
Sometimes you need a pay stub if it's something like that, but a lot of times you can just do it an offer letter.
So if you can secure that, give yourself the gift of getting here, getting yourself a house, and then look for changing it up. Because after you have the loan secured and you start making payments, it's up to you what you do with your life and with your career.
Yeah.
That's really good.
And there's also certain people that have jobs in other, like say you work from home and you just have to fly to your employer at certain times of the month or something.
Like you work 4 days in a row and then 3 days off or something, or reversed, right?
So then a lot of times if it's like that, where you're going to be at home most of the time, then we'll put a letter together and say, and sometimes we'll have to get the employer involved too, depending, but we'll just put a letter together and say, like what the job schedule is to make it known that this is going to be the primary residence here.
And I mean, I think people need to understand that the crisis that happened in 2007, 2008, when the crash happened, that's where a lot of these extra rules came from. This is the world trying to regulate the banking industry and keeping everybody honest, so we don't have that happen again. So I think it's, there's a lot of frustration sometimes for people going, why do you need more? Why do you need another document? Why do you need... It's just because we do. Sometimes. That's why.
But it's because of all the regulations, because of what happened. They're going to make sure that it doesn't ever crash again like that.
I mean, and I all day long, I'll take that and hand you more documentation.
I will too. Yeah,
because I'd rather know that I have a solid loan that's going to work right. So cool. All right. Well, it looks like we're getting some amazing feedback. We are totally going to start doing these later at night.
Yeah, it looks like we need to.
All right.
Off of work.
Wow, this is cool. Okay, White Elephant says, what should we invest in because of the coronavirus? Real estate. That's what you should invest in. If you really want the answer, real estate, because we are at an all-time low for rates, right?
Yeah, the rates are lower than I've ever seen them before.
And we have some awesome programs that you can pair with those rates to really get you some good money towards down payment and towards closing costs if you can, be approved. But even if you aren't, the rates are low enough that they're giving that rate lower is going to give you more money to spend. And, there's a lot of BS going out there about like, oh, there's going to be a recession because of the coronavirus. Okay, right now there's not a recession, and right now we have some of the lowest interest rates known to man. Yeah. And we said this in our video the other day, so I don't want to go too much into it, but at the end of the day, right now is the times when people who have money to burn wait for, because this is when they want to go and find new things to invest in.
Yeah, and when everybody's fearing, then they're out there taking advantage of it. Yeah.
So no fear. And invest in real estate. Hey guys, thank you so much. What should we invest in during the election? Real estate. That's my answer all the time.
And one thing I'll say is that in presidential election years, and I'm just going to tell you what I've seen in past history of presidential election years, but in the past, I've always seen rates at the best level during president election years.
It's so funny because I've been in this industry less time than you, but I always thought it was reversed. I was told, ooh, election years, people don't want to spend money and the rates and but and again, you can't really count it right now because of the virus and everything going around, but that's crazy. So it's good to know. So keep in mind, if you're looking to invest and you're moving out here in like 4 years, never a bad time to keep that in mind.
I always say the election years are always the best because it's the cheapest money.
Yeah.
It's the year after the election.
Right.
It's always still good to invest in real estate because real estate, you're always going to be able to make your money back on real estate, but you want to be able to do it when you can get the cheapest money. And that's always, for some reason, the presidential elections, it's always, well, it has been the last 17 years, I should say. I don't want to be like the expert, like I know all of time, but it seems like that's the best time where the rates are the best.
All right. Expat at Large says, my question would be, what would be the lowest credit score that a lender would approve? What's the lowest you've seen? I know they're all different for different programs, right?
So when you're looking at guidelines, the lowest you're going to be able to go is a 580. Now, there's times that like veterans, I've been able to go and fight for veterans because if you were harmed on, at service, and when you're at service and stuff like that, I can put letters together and fight for you on those kind of things.
That's awesome.
And if there's some kind of extenuating circumstances in your life, we can go beyond that. So I'd have to kind of talk to see. But in like real guidelines, you're looking at a 580 FICO score.
And here's the deal. Remember, she can pull a score different than what you're seeing. So you might be higher than you imagine. And also, what's great about your system is you're able to do scenarios that tell you, oh, if they were to pay this down just a little, what does that do to their score? If they were to get this gone, what would that do to their score?
Yeah.
And that is like gold to me. Like that, I would pay $1 billion for that, because that right there tells you right then and there what you need to do to
You don't have to guess.
It's amazing.
You don't have to guess, because we'll go straight to the bureau and say, what if we pay this card down to this, or what if we delete this collection, or what if we do this, and it'll tell you how much it'll bump your scores up.
It's amazing. So even if you have a low score, don't be afraid to call, because that's really some stuff we can do. It's a little tricky stuff on the back end. So
fun, tricky stuff.
All right, here's another question. Let's see. We've got, how do you feel about Dave Ramsey? How do you feel about Dave Ramsey?
I don't ever watch Dave Ramsey a whole lot, but from what I've heard, I totally believe in his stuff.
I used to listen to Dave Ramsey all the time. I think he's got a great program. As long as you stick to it, it works. He's a good man. I like his stuff. Hey, can everyone make sure, or how can everyone make sure you become debt free? Or maybe it's he can make everybody come. So yes, Dave Ramsey has a debt-free program. Feel free to look into that. That's not necessarily something we can talk about because we don't know.
We don't know. Yeah.
To qualify as self-employed, are you approved using income before or after deductions?
After deductions. But keep in mind, on self-employed, there's other little tricks too to that. So we're going to take, like, say you made $100,000 before, and I'm just throwing numbers out there. So say you made $100,000 as your gross before deductions, and then you wrote off $50,000. We're going to take the $50,000, but if there's things such as like a depreciation or interest that's on there as part of that $50,000 loss, we can add that back in. Okay. So it's not just a cut and dry, the bottom line. There's certain things that we can add back in to be able to include as your income.
That's awesome. See, I wouldn't even have known that. That's good. That's a good question. Thank you so much, Tony, for asking that. Let's see. Diane says, we just refinanced our home here in California, and it was under my name only, but now it's under both mine and my husband's. Will he still qualify for FHA loan in Las Vegas?
So is he, well, okay. So remember, on FHA, you could do 2 FHAs if you're a non-occupying co-borrower on one, and the other one is your primary. So if you guys are...
That's what I just did, right? Yeah. So we have 2 FHA loans. This is a lot of personal information on the live internet web, so I'm going to be careful. But we have 2 FHA loans. What we did was we put my name and my husband's name on both homes. We live in one, and then we added my daughter to the other home to help her build her credit, and it's an investment for us. But it's FHA, and so I am a non-occupying co-borrower on that one, correct? Yeah. And that's how we were able to make it happen. Yeah. So are you saying in their scenario, if they were to sell that home before they move here, does that eliminate the problem?
If you were to sell, because in your scenario, it's husband and wife that are on a home in California. Right. And then you're going to look to move to Las Vegas and make it as your primary residence. So both of you are moving to Las Vegas and making your primary. We wouldn't be able to do 2 FHA loans.
But if you sell that home,
but if you sell it,
do that.
Or if you don't want to sell it and you convert it into a conventional loan.
That's what we always really want you to do, honestly, because we want you to hang on to that. But
yeah, because like having more real estate is
it's always a good thing.
Yeah, building up your assets and your equity in your houses and stuff.
Okay, so I hope that answers, but if you want more questions, Diane, you can always call me. We've been in touch, and then you can always call Amber. She can really run your scenario by everything.
Yeah, for sure.
This isn't so much related to loans or real estate, but Lacey, can you please do a video about services available in the area for people with disabilities? I will work on that, Erin.
That would be a great video.
Very good video. I'll have to do some research, but I will definitely work on it. Should I invest in Vegas real estate, especially with all the Californians fleeing from their home state?
It's always a good
The answer is yes. The answer is always going to be yes. Why is the super chat not on? I have no idea. Don't know what that means. I'm still new. So, okay. So let's keep going here. Let's see. Oh my goodness. I hate looking at these while we're talking. You talk while I look. Hold on. I'm just kidding. Amber, how much? I just wanted to make her sweat. Amber.
Did you see my anxiety levels go up?
How much of a down payment is typically required to avoid the requirement of having PMI?
To avoid PMI, you need to put down 20%. But let's talk about PMI for a second. So PMI, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. So you can, there's different ways to do PMI. Yep. Sometimes people only see it on their monthly payment. They're like, I'm paying that to PMI. So there's PMI where you can split it up, meaning that you can finance part of it in your loan or pay part of it off, and then it makes your monthly amount lower.
Nice.
You can put all of it in your interest rate, so you include it in your interest rate, or you can finance it all in, which like spreads it out over the 30-year term. Okay. So it makes it less. So there's a lot of different ways that you can look at PMI. A lot of times if somebody's putting down like a little bit more money, like 10% or something like that, and their PMI is lower, sometimes I'll show them the difference. But the minute that you hit like 20% equity, you can request that PMI be taken off of the loan. Right. So if you're putting down a little bit more, to where you know you're not going to be paying it for a long time,
right,
then it might be good to just pay it monthly because you can request it to come off
yeah.
sooner
So
rather than later.
people think it's black and white, and what's amazing
It's
is
not. There's
a lot is
of,
black and white, but there's a lot of gray. And when you have someone like Amber who's really creative and not willing to take no for an answer, she's really just like, she really doesn't, guys. She's like a dog with a bone. I'm not keeping that bone. So that's awesome. That's good.
Thank you.
Good to know that there's some gray area.
Do you want me to keep talking about PMI, or did you
No,
get a chance
I'm
to read?
skipping. I'm skipping.
Okay.
I'm good. Okay. So Nillatube is saying, what type of license do you have? I have a residential, I'm just a real estate agent, realtor. But within my team, we have several of us who do residential real estate. We have one of us, actually two of us, who do a commercial. And then we also have a partner who works with us who does property management. So we cover all bases. I personally, though, just focus on residential real estate. So I don't do any property management, but that's why we found a good partner to do that with.
Yeah, that's good to partner with.
Yeah. Do you work with veterans? Do you like to work with veterans with benefits? Do you plan using them? Hopefully, they're planning to use them by June. They'll be in town mid-April, starting a new job, done with training end of May. Will need their own place by then. Hey, Ray, we love working with veterans. And
absolutely love veterans.
It's like my dad's a veteran. We just got him to utilize his VA loan. You do a lot. Yeah.
My dad's a veteran. In fact, I was born on Nellis Air Force Base.
Oh, total local right here. So, born and raised.
And, and not to say that that's the reason, but yeah, I mean, a lot of veterans, honestly, you know, like we always say, like Lacey and I have done this several times. Sometimes we just have to do good karma loans.
We do good karma. We do a lot of good karma loans. We do a lot of good karma
just
stuff.
To help people out, to get them into houses.
Yep.
Veterans are number one on that list.
Yes,
I don't know how many veterans that we've helped, we've fought for, we've spent endless hours to get them through and into their house because
it's the right thing to do.
Somebody needed to fight for them.
That's right.
So that was us. Yeah.
And I know that you have. I'm actually looking over here. She's got awards and stuff. We do a lot of work with veterans for a reason. It's close to our heart. So very good question. Thank you so much. Create and Adorn was his name. Or no, that's Create and Adorn is the next one. That was Ray. Create and Adorn says, hey, Lacey, loved your video on 89120. Thank you. Zip code videos, more of them coming this week, guys. Relocating myself in the online business later this year from Seattle, looking for land to build with no HOA, to build small, not tiny, but just custom 1,200 square feet or so. So I want to just give you kind of a quick heads up. Yes, it's doable. It is not common. And the reason it's not common is we don't have enough tradespeople and construction people to be able to allow everybody to build their own custom home. So doing that is a bit of an uphill battle, but we would be happy to help you look at financing for some of the land if need be. Do you do land financing or no?
I don't do land financing, but well, a lot of times when you're doing a construction loan, you'll use the land as collateral for the loan.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So sometimes you'll want to have the land paid for, and then you'll use that as collateral towards the loan. So I can help with the construction part. The land loans I don't do.
Okay, so we can talk about it if you're interested. Again, I always put the link here. I always wait and put it in too late. I'm sorry about that. I'm putting the link in the chat. Sorry about that. But feel free to click the link, and in the link in the description below, we'd be happy to help you guys with any of your one-off questions. But really good question, but just kind of open your mind a little bit beyond what you're thinking, because it's not as common here, and it can be extra expensive to do it that way because it's such a specialized thing, and extra stressful too. So sometimes there's an opportunity to do something a little different. So we'd be happy to help you. If I want to close on a home in December, when should I hire an agent to start the process of searching? Hey, Calvin. So I'm hoping you're talking about an agent from my team, but I would love to help you, obviously, and so would my team. We like to start looking about 90 days out. I'd start talking about 90 days out and start actively looking 60 days out, because an escrow is typically about 30 to 45 days. And we usually do a pretty good job of being able to nitty gritty, run through the city and find what you want to live in pretty quickly. Unless you have a really specific need, we feel like we can usually get it done in about 30 days. So with searching for homes. So let us know. And P.S., it's never too early to call. So I don't know if you've already spoken, but click the link and set up a call, because I really feel like we could start that conversation sooner rather than later and get you on the right track for when you are actually ready. Really good question. Some of these ideas seem too good to be true. Yeah, I know, but it's still real and still good. Oh, well, just what we're talking about, how invest your money and transfer it over and do, 2 FHA loans and stuff like that. So, do you support out-of-state investment? I.e., I live in Colorado and be interested in investing in Las Vegas properties. Yes, we do that a lot. We
That's actually next on our list to talk about
really,
investing.
yes. So you jumped us to our next thing. Yes is the answer. We do a lot of investors. We work with a lot of people who don't live here, and we actually, that's why we ended up partnering with some property management companies in town, my team at least, because we can't manage the property, but we will help you find it and get the best deal with the loan or whatever you're going to do. And then we can help you if you want to have somebody here managing the property. And you, I know, do a ton of investor loans, right?
I do a ton of investor loans.
So,
yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, the thing about Vegas that's really good about people that are buying investment properties is the rents have been rising here.
Yeah, rent is on the way up. So rent's on the way up and rates are on the way down. So it sounds like a good time to buy to me.
Sounds like a really good time to buy, yeah.
Can someone who has never had credit start to build credit? How does that work? Like baby steps.
Actually, to build credit, you know
I do know this. I know the answer. I feel so smart right now.
Smiling big. You want to take over?
I'll give two things, but I'll let her say anything I miss. So if you have no credit, we just went through this with my daughter, and my credit has had its own heyday of ups and downs. Okay, we've all had it. We all have problems. It is what it is. When my credit got to an okay level, not even a great level, I added my daughter's name to my credit card. Within 30 days, her credit went from 0, nothing, to 717. 717. So better than mine. Okay, let me just be real. Better than mine. So that's a really quick and easy way to do it. She didn't spend money. She doesn't even have a credit card with my name on it or her name on it, but her name being added to my credit was like an endorsement, and that helped elevate her right away. Are you so proud of me right now?
I'm so
Look
proud
at the face she's giving me here.
Can you see like the proud mama face right there?
She's learning. So we did that, and we know that even if it's not a family member, if you have a good friend who just has okay credit or great credit, and they're willing to just throw your name on their card for 2-3 months to just sit there and let it do its thing, that can do wonders for your score.
So the one thing that you want to look for if you do that is to make sure that the person that's adding you to credit, like I'll do it to my kids. I'll make sure that it's the lowest card that I have. So basically that you want a high balance but low
high credit.
Well, high ratio is probably what I'm trying to say, or low ratio. So basically, if it's a card, it doesn't really matter how much is on the card. If it's like $500, but there's only a balance of say $50, that's the card that you want to get on, because credit looks at what's available on that credit card. The ratio of what's available is what makes your credit scores higher.
Got it.
So that's what you'll want to look at if you add your name to somebody's card. And then like if your parents do it or your kids do it or something like that, then that's going to give you scores so that you can go get your own card. Because sometimes if you don't have scores, then it's hard for people to give you credit. So then that's just giving you a boost so that you can get your own cards. And then the idea is to keep your balances low on those credit cards so you can build your own credit just the same way.
Yeah. The other quick tip, and then we'll move on, is another one. And there's a lot more, PS, like a lot more. So she can always give you way more tips and tricks. But these are just some 2 that I've used and they work. Go get a secured credit card. So what that means is you already have a bank account, most likely with a bank. Walk into the bank and tell them you're interested in a secured credit card. What that means is you're basically paying them $300, $500, whatever that number looks like, to put that money on a card and make it available for you to spend. What's important though is it's not just like using your debit card and it's like, oh, the money's gone, I spent it. You have to treat it like a credit card and pay yourself back that money every time, every month, so that it's showing you have the ability and the know-how and the wherewithal to do so.
Yeah, secured cards are a great way to do it. And just do it the exact same way. If you get a $300 secured card, because you're basically charging your own money, it's just establishing credit for you. Then only make sure that balance is less than 10%. So only charge like $30. Charge gas and then
that's it.
Pay
and
it
then
down.
Pay it right
charge
down.
Gas and pay it down. Pay it down to like $10. So there's always a small balance on there. And then that way you're always showing credit every time that they report to the bureau.
I love it.
That was a great question.
All righty, let's see. Robert wrote something, but I don't see where it went. Can you still pay cash? Tom says, can you still pay cash for a house? Yeah, absolutely. Freaking cash is king. Lacey, why do really nice homes in really nice neighborhoods have steel security doors? It's actually a good question. I'm so glad you asked that. Thank you, Greg. I have a couple of opinions on that, because I was in Las Vegas before those became super popular, and then I'm obviously still here now, and they're not popular, but they whatever. Honestly, I think it became sort of an aesthetic thing back in the day. You guys have to keep in mind, it gets super hot in Vegas, and we don't have screen doors. I mean, we do on the backyard or whatever, but for me, we don't have a lot of screen front doors or anything like that. That's just not a part of our deal here. So I think a lot of homeowners, I honestly think a couple of companies sprouted up in Vegas that do these security doors, and they did a really good job of marketing. And they went door to door telling people, your neighbor just bought it. It's a really cool thing. It allows the breeze to come through in the summer. There's
Is that like
the door that you close and you can see out, but they can't really see in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I also think that, there's probably coming, they were probably coming through doing a little bit of fear mongering, saying, for safety, but it's not really for safety anymore. It's really just genuinely, I think it's just become a thing that was on houses that people have passed on.
My parents always want to do them too.
Yeah.
Like they have one in their backyard.
Yeah.
And it's just because she wants to leave the door open to get the breeze during the fall and the spring.
Yeah.
Those are the doors you're talking about, right?
Yep, that's exactly it. And security is a component as well. I think the other thing, I bought my first house a long, long time ago, and it had bars on the windows in a very nice neighborhood, but it had bars on the windows and a security door. And I asked the real estate agent, why would they put these on here? And their explanation was, well, the woman who owns this home currently, who I'm buying it from, has always lived alone. She's older, and she just felt like she felt secure with them on there. So we had them pulled off right away, and everything was fine. But it was, it's an individual basis. But very good question. That's my take.
I didn't even know what doors. That's a great
That's
question.
my take on it. I don't have any other reason.
That's true.
Because honestly, we don't have the crime doesn't, match up for that, especially some of these beautiful neighborhoods. So I just think it was like an old popular thing.
Yeah.
It's like wainscoting.
Because I guess it doesn't really happen as much anymore, huh?
Yeah. How difficult is it? I'm just, let's see here. And we're going to have to wrap it up really quickly soon because I have to pick up my son. So sorry, guys, but we're going to have to wrap it up. But this has been good so far. We're going to do a couple more questions. How difficult is it to get for a newly married 47-year-old couple who wants to buy, but a 15-year loan, because obviously 30-year loans for 47 is not realistic. First of all, 30-year loan is totally fine for you. We're not going to discriminate against you because you're older. We don't care.
By the way, that's
not far from either of us. That is not old, first of all.
That is not old. Don't say that again. I think the difference between, like, we couldn't discriminate anyway.
Yeah.
You can do a 30-year loan.
You can do anything you want.
It's basically what you want in your payment.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter like how many, then nobody's going to look and see, oh, you're going to be this age by the time you're older, because that would be discrimination.
Yep.
So it's really going, and honestly, who really keeps the loan for 30 years? Most people will refinance, sell it, or do something else with it. So it's more looking at what you want your payment to be. So a 30-year loan is going to keep your payment lower than a 15-year loan. Yeah. So it's gonna kind of end on your end game.
So it's whatever your goal is for that payment. Mm-hmm. We don't care about your age. We don't even want to know your age.
No.
So I don't want to know who you are.
47 is not old. Okay.
It's not old. Anyway, do you have access? Jack says, do you have access to sell any houses that aren't on your list? I get a listing from your service in my price range, but I see places on Trulia, also my range, that aren't on your list. So we can sell any house that's in the MLS system here in Las Vegas, any house for sale, really. We can also sell homes that aren't for sale. It's just a little bit harder. We have to go convince the person to sell it. Yeah. But if you are on a list or a drip system email from our team and you're not seeing stuff that comes up in Trulia or on Zillow or on Realtor.com, there's probably a reason why. It may have been because you asked for 3 bedrooms and the homes that you're coming up with are only 2. Or it may be because you wanted 1,500 square feet and this happens to be just a little bit under. It also may be literally because we draw the map of where we want to look for homes for you. It might be literally just outside of that line. So what I always encourage people to do when I'm working directly with them is, please look at what I send you and know that that's based on my knowledge of the city and my understanding of what you want. But also feel free to roam the internet and find other things. Just be prepared to share those findings with me so I can figure out why didn't it come up on our list, or what's wrong with the house, basically. So but long story short is, we can sell anything you want. And please let us know, and feel free to text or email us stuff that you're finding. Most of the time, if I can just be honest, when people go online and find other stuff online that's not in my list, most of the time it's because the stuff online that they're finding is outdated and it's been sold, or it was gone 3 months ago or 5 years ago. There's been a few of those recently, because those systems aren't linked up every day to our MLS system. They're not absolutely accurate and timely. So, and I've had people not believe me when I tell them, nope, that's not a house that's for sale anymore. They've actually decided to go ask other realtors to help them see the house. And when they finally got the answer, oh, that's not for sale, though it's not for sale, from more realtors, they came back to me and said, oh, I guess I believe you. So there's no reason for me to withhold a home and not show you something if it's going to fit your needs. If it's not on the list, there's probably a good reason. So feel free to communicate that with us. Great question, Jack. Thank you. Okay, got the link. I submitted my loan application today. Great talking to you, Amber. Taryn says, great talking to you. Nice job.
Oh, hello.
Nice job. Okay, we're going to do a couple more and then we're going we're gonna move on. We hope you guys like these videos. If you want more information, I know I say it a billion times, but please, in the link that's in the comments or in the link in the description, we will do this with you one-on-one and give you really good information and answer all your questions anytime you want.
Yes,
so just let us know. There's never going to be pressure.
We love hearing from you.
We do. It's really fun, actually.
It is.
Let's see. Buying a new home, what percentage do you apply to the base price for options? I can answer this.
Woohoo.
When you're buying a new home, typically you want to estimate 18 to 25% on top of the base price. So if you don't know, when you're looking at a house online and it's a new home and it says starting at 349 or whatever they're saying, low 300s, they like to use the ranges. Most of the time that low 300s means like 325. And typically you're going to add about 18 to 25% on top of it. You don't have to, and not every builder is going to require that extra money. Some of the builders in town actually don't let you upgrade the house that much. So it's important to talk to a realtor, because my team has something no other team has. We have access to a specific list that tells us all the new homes available in Las Vegas. We created it. We use it for our use only. So if you need something like that or just are having a hard time navigating, let us know. We'll let you know what's out there and what fits your needs. Beyond that, though, we're also going to be able to tell you this builder doesn't require any additional money. This builder is going to give you this much in incentive. So it's good to work with a realtor, because if you walk in blind, all those incentives go away, or some of them do at least. And at the end, you're proud of me again. I see it in your face.
I am. I'm very proud of you.
And beyond that, you're not represented or protected in any way. So let us know. I hope that answered your question. About 18 to 25% with 80% of the builders.
That was a really good answer. I've never heard that. I'm just
back
listening to it.
You're welcome.
Woo, what do you got?
Greg says, glad to hear 580 is considered good enough. I was worried about being at 674. I thought 700 would be the minimum. Oh, Greg, you better call us. Oh my God.
Greg,
we are going to get you into a house tomorrow. That's amazing. I think mine was less than 674 when we bought my house last year, right? It was. I think it was like 671 or something. So, and I made it. So
yeah,
there's that. Okay. Let's see. Last one we're going to do, guys. Thank you for all your comments. And, if we didn't get to your question, I feel like we got most of them, but if we didn't get to your question, please feel free to reach out. Last question. It doesn't look like that's why we love Lacey and Amber. That's awesome. Take care and thanks for all your help. Oh wait, I'm not finding questions. I'm finding compliments. Never a problem with that.
But you're making us feel all good with them. Thank you so much.
Hit the like button. Show these ladies some love. I'm not finding any more. Okay, when buying a new home, no. Which neighborhood has the least amount of light pollution?
Oh,
I do not know. We've had that asked before, right?
I'm just waiting for you to answer it.
I don't know the answer to that.
Light pollution?
I think, honestly, I do think I know the answer to that. Probably Sky Canyon in the Northwest.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking too.
And probably the Southwest, I'd say, because those are the most remote and pulled away from the main areas of the Strip and the neon, and also just where all the street lights are. I would say, yeah. And Tule Springs, which is a new area in North Las Vegas that we've been promoting.
I've heard that's an amazing area. I went to their park the other day, and I'm like,
beautiful.
Where did this come from?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It was really pretty.
Don't count North Las Vegas out. There's some really amazing pockets out there. Let us show you and educate you. That's it for tonight, guys. Thank you again. We are going to start doing more of these later in the evening or early in the morning. I think that's going to be the way to go. Yeah, man, telling us this is awesome. I don't know. We love each other and we love you, and we're excited that you guys like what we're doing. So again, thank you. Hope to see you guys. Click the link, even if it's just for questions. We're not going to pressure you to buy. We just want to answer your questions. Otherwise, we'll talk to you soon.
Have a good night.
Let's give love, because you gave them. We love you. We love you. Wait, jazz hands.
I'm not going to say
jazz hands. That was the worst jazz hands I've ever seen.
You don't want me to sing with you.
No, I do not. Bye, guys.
Bye.